Now then, 5:10, and WHSmith has been ranked the UK's worst high street retailer for the second year in a row. This is according to a Which survey of nearly 8,000 shoppers. The poll covered 100 retailers and rated the chain very poor for value for money and in-store experience. Homebase and Sports Direct were the next worst performers, while Richer Sounds and John Lewis were at the top of the table. WHSmith pointed out that only 586 people commented on its stores in the survey when it has 3 million customers a week. That, it says, means the survey isn't statistically relevant or meaningful. Retail expert Kate Hardcastle joins us this afternoon. Hello, Kate.
Hello.
Quite a defence, isn't it, to say, hang on, your survey's flawed and we're quite happy with what we're doing?
If memory serves me right, I think it was pretty much the same response last year as well when I covered the story. So I think we've got a few things going on here. Retail's very challenging. We know that. We know as consumers we're more discerning. We've got more choice at our fingertips. So we don't really have to shop in these retail high street stores anymore. We need to shop. That said, WHSmith have got a business that is successful, and that's undeniable, which is hard to do in these times. And a lot of that success comes from what they call their travel business. So when you're in a train station or an airport and you've nowhere else to go, or even indeed a hospital, that's the part of the business that's making the money. When they were asked about should they improve their stores, should they do more, the simple answer really was from their departing CEO last week, well, it costs money, and we can either remove stores from your high street or we can spend the money on trying to do up less stores. You know, we can't have all of the things we'd like to do in the budget. So it's a business that actually is doing all right. It's a business that might not have the best service and the best stores, but it's a business that is surviving what is treacherous times for retail.
I suppose it brings up the question of whether businesses like this, or high street chains or big chains, care what people think about them if they're making the money. I remember the story about WHSmith that must have been 3 or 4 years ago now. They got in some hot water for selling products in hospitals at a higher price than they would sell at their normal high street stores, if you want to call them those. And that was sort of bad PR for them. And then this survey putting them bottom of this list of retailers a couple of years running, and the response that we're getting. I mean, will they be sitting and having crisis talks at WHSmith HQ and caring about what people think about them?
Well, I know you and some of your listeners love social media, and there's been a parody account on Twitter for WHSmith carpets where people are invited to just send in pictures of how bad the carpets and the store fittings are. So I think WHSmith have probably got quite a thick skin. I think they know that this opinion exists. I think actually they're aware of their stores, they're aware of what they look like, and they're probably pretty aware from surveys like this that not everyone is thinking it's wonderful. I also think there's something a little bit more deeper than all this, Larry, as well. If you think about how much we pay for some items, not just the toothpaste at the hospital store you're referring to, but actually bottles of water at train stations and airports, I don't think any of us do it that favourably. We don't think, oh, wonderful, this is the best value for money. We know they're making money out of being there at the right place and the right time. They'll argue that their rent and rates are very expensive, so they've got to cover those costs. And we'll argue as a consumer that we don't want to feel like we're being ripped off. So I think probably, yes, social media matters, and the brand opinion and the brand worth of many businesses matter, but maybe WHSmith have got a bit of a different structure, a bit of a different strategy when it comes to being everybody's favourite.
It used to be, didn't it, that in terms of the relationship between a major retailer and a consumer, it would be, in terms of the advertising, it would be, hey, we've got this product, why don't you come and buy it, it's good. And that would be sort of very direct advertising. And then it became very much more sort of hearts and minds, and, you know, you can see that on the John Lewis adverts, which, you know, just pulling at emotional heartstrings. They want you to be emotionally involved with them as a product. I think it does sort of make a difference, doesn't it? If you shop in John Lewis, for example, and not everybody can afford to do that for obvious reasons, but it's a pleasant shopping experience. If you're a consumer, surely that is the store that you would go back to time and time again, or am I being naive?
I think it's getting very complex in terms of what customers want, and I think you can look at also wider than retail into the food and beverage industry. We were covering the Jamie's story last week, and why were middle market restaurant chains suffering, and why was the sort of like the top and the bottom, if you like, of the apple cart doing really well. And I think we've got the same things going on in retail. People are really happy, actually. When I was a kid and we had to go to Quick Save, which you probably won't remember that.
No, I remember it very well, yeah.
Yeah, so it was very much stack it high, sell it cheap. It was very much much, with the idea that you'd hide your carrier bag in something that looked a bit posher to get away from the embarrassment factor. Whereas now everyone's bragging about something that's picked up in one of our German discounter friends.
Yeah.
So I think there's a different atmosphere with how we shop. I think it's about us shopping wiser and smarter. If we reach up and want to spend a bit more, then we expect an exceptional service. We also look for expertise, knowledgeable staff, customer service, and this is where I get on my big drum that I've been banging for 20 years now. If you are going to have traditional high street stores, the service needs to be really good in there. And what I'm hearing from the staff is there's less of them on the floor and there's more jobs to do, but I don't think that's the right place to cut costs. I think the right place is to actually probably make sure that your retail offer is as good as it can be, either online or offline, and for the price point, so the value for money you're getting for whatever you pay. We all deserve respect in life, the staff and ourselves as customers.
All right, Kate, good to talk to you. Thanks for your time.
Take care.
Bye for now. That is Kate Hardcastle, retail expert, on the news that WHSmith ranked the UK's worst high street retailer for the second year in a row.